What's up, everybody? Back again with another build and battle on the Pokemon Trading Card Game Live. This time we got the Delphox from Chaos Rising. Got our 4 packs. Let's get into this. So you look through our deck here. Got a various forms of Deoxys, no speed form. But this time we pulled a 1-2-1 line of Mega Greninja EX. Looking through everything else, nothing else really. Did get Claydol line, considered it. I am pulling out the Vulpix and the Ninetales line, which I typically do in the Delphox pre-release kit. No sense of committing energies to Ninetales, who does a 70. Very seldomly are you ever using the first attack, because then you have to take damage on a Delphox and then switch into it, costing you valuable resources and energies and switch cards. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going to find a proper balance between fire energies and water energies. The bad thing about playing Delphox and Greninja together is that Delphox attacks for fire, Greninja attacks for water. So you need to do a proper balance of having enough waters to Mortal Shuriken and attack with Ninja Spinner, but you also need enough fires so that you can storm and use Delphox's ability to draw 7 cards. So you want typically a little bit more fires because you play a much thicker line of Delphox. You want slightly less waters because, again, if you prize any piece of the Greninja, you're probably not getting it out. So win the coin flip going first against Johnny B. In this pre-release format for Chaos Rising, you definitely want to go first. Important to get the first energy drop. Important to get the first evolve. Hand, nothing going on in this hand, unfortunately. And with the Delphox deck, going second isn't too bad because Fennekin has Call for Family. So, not the end of the world if you go second. As long as you go Fennekin opener plus energy, you'll be totally fine setting up behind a Fennekin. So, this hand kind of stinks. We have energies to do things, but we didn't go second. We went first, so I can't Call for Family. I'm not too worried about a donk because there's only one situation where a donk really happens, and that's a Emma plus an Esper. So if my opponent is playing any of the other decks, then we'll probably be okay. Opponent gets a free one because we mulliganed, and it is the mirror match. So they opened Vulpix instead of Fennekin, which I think is a misplay from my opponent because going second and calling for family is way better than singeing. So opponent, he's got Buddy Poffin. Maybe that's the reason why he didn't want to call for family. He already had a bunch of Pokemon anyways. So maybe the Singe, he feels that the Singe is better. So Singe 20 damage. Now, they didn't play any supporters. This hand from my opponent is risky, and I top decked water, so I have nothing going on. So what they can do is if they have Waitress plus Breaks in plus Fire, they can just kill me because that 20 damage actually does really matter. And I play the Waitress this turn because I want to thin the deck as much as possible. And one less energy means that I'm one card closer to Buddy Poffin, another Fennekin, a Delphox, anything else. I just don't want to draw another energy because another energy doesn't do anything for me. Opponent plays Surfer, so there won't be the Waitress play. And on top of that, they draw a couple cards and didn't get to play any breaks in, so they didn't get any evolutions off. We do get lucky. We did top deck a Lily's Determination there. I put the water energy on because I can flamethrower and discard the water. I just need 2 fires to get the attack off, but any color energy can be discarded. So I'm looking through my deck. Unfortunately, we prize the big boy. So we need to rip him off the prizes. However, I do have the rare candy in my hand. So if I get lucky, I have a 1 in 4 chance of getting the Mega Greninja. And my opponent's setting up pretty slow. So the Mega Greninja is probably coming pretty soon. So we'll kill here. Plus, I don't want to go... Oh, and we get the Mega Greninja. And so I decide that it's better to use the Mega Greninja here rather than going Delphox for Delphox. Because if they do get a Delphox at some point, they can just build up a bunch of energy. Because their Delibird is going to dump a bunch of energies here with the present attack. And so I'm debating whether or not to put this water energy down. And ultimately I do because the Ninja... the Mortal Shuriken does 6 and not 7. So it doesn't make sense for me to hold it. So I can actually set up for an attack next turn if I draw another water energy. especially since I have Surfer in my hand. So Rare Candy Greninja, Evolve Braixen. And so I can draw some cards here with Flaring Magic. I got to switch. Unfortunately, no Water Energy. Or otherwise, I could have just switched and used Greninja. But this is totally fine. Again, I'm just burning cards so that I don't redraw them if they have... I don't know. I don't think there's any sort of judge in the pre-built Fennekin deck, so no big deal there. Benihilda, grab another Delphox for the next turn. I did grab the water. I can actually switch and attack into this Delibird. But I can also just sit behind. And I don't. So we're going in with this Greninja. Again, if they kill this Greninja, they're going to need literally the whole world here. They're going to need like Rare Candy Delphox plus Fire plus Waitress. So they're going to need quite a bit. I don't even think that's even enough energies in play on board to do it. So I think we're okay. Hilda, basically the play is cooked. So we also have a Mortal Shuriken for next turn. And we can Ninja Spinner this Ho-Oh. But ultimately, this all doesn't matter because literally attach and I win the game. We had that backup Delphox just in case he took a 3-prize turn. And we Shuriken Ho-Oh for swag points. And then we do 400 damage for 2 times swag points. Basically special meter filled. Easy KO. I don't think my opponent played the best though. No big deal. This is build battles. This isn't ranked. This isn't a regionals. So round 2, maybe it's good. And if you've noticed that the video is 1.5 speed because these games do get a little long. So win the coin flip going first. Drawing cards. Nothing in this hand. This time we're opening Fennekin. Going first, fine. No big deal. We have Double Buddy by Puffin. It's actually almost preferred to go first. Opponent flashes Goodra. The damage might matter. Going second would have actually been better because you can steady Fire Breathing and then go into Braixen. Use Flamethrower and then kill Sliggoo. But going first, this is still totally fine because if we can draw Braixen here, we can Flamethrower. However, opponent has shown Emolga, Speedioxys, and Scrope, which is not good because that means that Mega Dragalge is coming soon. I made sure that Mega Greninja, Frogadier, and Froakie were all in the deck, so we do have access to our Mega against their Mega. And so we attach to the Fennekin, set up for a possible Flamethrower falling turn, so we can Waitress, and then Pokepad for the Braixen. Take a prize there. Other than that, our hand kind of is not that great. What we'd like to see is a Fire Energy either this turn or the following turn so that we can use Delphox's ability to draw some cards. We draw another Delphox. That's not any good. Get a Braixen. We need a Fire Energy here. We get the Fire Energy. Again, you can see why the hand's not great here. We're praying for a magic either in the prizes or on the top of the deck after this turn. And since they committed the energy to Emolga and searched for a Dark and a Psychic, they are not going to be able to get the Dragalge off this turn. So there's the Dragalge, Mega Dragalge. For Water and a Dark, does 16 points of poison damage in between turns. So basically kills everything. Except for our Mega Greninja. We got lucky off the prizes and drew a Fire Energy. So we want some magic here. I'm burning cards here. The bad thing is that they didn't grab a Water Energy off the Emolga. I think that means that they have the Water Energy already. So we're going to put up a Meat Shield because we want to set up our own Greninja. And we drew basically the perfect cards. We drew a Frogadier and the Hilda. So next turn, we have Mega Greninja EX and a Water and a second Water to Shuriken if we want to Shuriken one of the Goomies. However, we want to attack. We want to be the first person to attack their Mega. So we will sit behind our Meat Shield Fennekin here as they take the bait, promoting their Mega. because we can take our last 3 prizes if we attack into the Dragalge twice. And as long as we get the first attack off, we can always Shuriken several times to this. We got a Shuriken, I believe, 3 times to this Dragalge after a Ninja Spinner to take the knockout. Unfortunately, if we had 320 health, we can just Shuriken, and then Mega Spinner or a Ninja Spinner to KO. But I don't think it ultimately matters in the long run. As long as we get the first attack off, it doesn't matter. We have a backup Delphox to attack with if he decides to charge up other things. But no, we're sitting pretty good. Shuriken to the Dragalge. Again, playing the Pokepad in the deck. I have a Surfer, and the Surfer is gonna be good because if something silly comes up, I can use Delphox to I can use the Delphox's attack to kill some small stuff while preserving my own Greninja. Now, the thing about the Goodra deck is that it doesn't play Waitress, so it really can't attack anything for 1 energy. So they will lose the game if they attack with their Dragalge into my Greninja, because then we can just Ninja Spinner, KO, do 200 more damage. So the only thing in their deck they could use is they could use the Deoxys for 30, or if they play Esper with Emma, they could do 70. Neither of which is any significant amount of damage, because Greninja having 350 life is just amazing. So they set up double Goodra, Sticky Hold. Really doesn't really matter, to be honest. If I'm switching into Delphox, then I'm just going to probably just keep attacking things with Delphox. So, because as soon as this Dragalge comes in, the game will end. Because I'll just use Greninja to finish it off. Because we attack second with our Mega. Switching, conserving the energy. They're going to Lily into Speed Deoxys, which has free retreat. So, committing energy to Deoxys, again, worthless. Doesn't really matter. So, this play, they put it on a Gumi. I could just Shuriken the Gumi and then kill the Deoxys. But taking 2 prizes doesn't matter because ultimately I just want to kill the Dragalge for the 3 prizes. We drew another water. Again, doesn't really matter. A debate. I think ultimately still you want to kill the Dragalge. You put the damage on Dragalge. And then I can just Surfer. Evolve. Surfer, draw some extra cards. Conserve the Ninja just in case something silly happens. Kill the Deoxys. That's fine. Now they're basically forced into either promoting a Goodra, which is still fine because I still have a regular switch. Or I can try to Sticky Hold Retreat and then just Shuriken because I do have that water from before. And so they fall for the trap. They are forced to poison precious poison into my Delphox, taking the knockout against the Delphox. But it is no match for Mega Greninja EX, where I can do the Mortal Shuriken, killing the Dragalge for 3 prizes. All right, and now we're on to match number 3. Match number 3 gets Mr. Pox. Lost the coin flip. Opponent gets to choose. Opponent opts to go first. And this starting hand is bad. Very, very bad. We got the wrong guy. And then it gets even worse. Mareep. If they have an energy attachment, and then they attach the next energy, they can just disconnect and win the game. So if I don't draw any basic Pokemon, Buddy Buddy Poffin or anything, then I just lose. Opponent is going to play Pokepad. He's going to flash the Flaffy. Almost positive that they have the energy. So again, and we got bailed out. We get a Fennekin. So now what we do is, we leave the Froakie up there as a sacrificial lamb, We don't, because then if we Hilda for Breaksin and do 80 damage, it will not kill a 90 HP Flaffy. So what we have to do is we're going to have to take an extra turn to call for family. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to forego Greninja EX altogether for the most part, this matchup. Because if an Ampharos sinks their hand, matches hand sizes, they can basically take their Greninja for 3 prizes. Because Greninja is weak to lightning. And so this play is fine. The only way we kind of lose this game is if they had a rare candy into an Ampharos, which they did not. So disconnect. A little unfortunate. Means I can't play any item cards, so I can't go into Delphox immediately. And so I have a Lily, but I'm going to opt to keep it because if I Lily into a bunch of other stuff, I can't play item cards. So if I get Buddy Buddy Poffin, it's not going to matter. And I have a Breaksin and a Delphox and some energies, so that's fine. And so I attach the water so I can call for family, which is great because, again, the waters aren't going to be worthwhile. I'm going to try to use as many fires as I can because I'm going to need to keep my hand nice and full against Ampharos. My opponent misplays a little bit by preemptively evolving an Ampharos. They could have just disconnected and prevented me from using items again. So since they Ampharos and they really didn't play any supporters there, it means that their hand is incredibly weak. So this gives me the opportunity to evolve Breaksin, Rare Candy Delphox, and now I can just Magic for a bunch of cards. We drew Greninja. A little unfortunate that we used the Rare Candy on the Delphox, but definitely necessary. And so now we're kind of in an interesting situation. I can Lily's this hand away, but I opt to use the Waitress because we had a bunch of fire energies, or we drew a bunch of water, so it's likely to draw a fire energy. And so I'm debating whether to put the fire energy down or not. I'm going to put a water energy down because if my opponent doesn't commit any energies, I'm going to need as many energies as possible so that I can kill this Ampharos. Next turn. So my opponent attaches the Flaffy. There's nothing going on there. The Canary, which is great because that only means that they're going to get either another Ampharos line or they can grab a Molga Flaffy Ampharos. So we're holding that fire energy because we can use it to Magic next turn, or we can attach and switch and Flare to KO. So we get options. Again, the water was just kind of to power up the Storm for 30 more points of damage. So opponent gets rid of Dawn. Nothing else going on. They really don't have any draw supporters, which is great. Evolve into Flaffy, meaning that they're getting ready for another Ampharos. And since they attacked last turn with Ampharos, they cannot attack this turn. So it just sets me up so that I can kill their Ampharos. Double checking damage. Get a Frogadier. Get my own Delphox. Again, I Pokepad. I'm going to leave it in there because then I get more cards off the Flaring Magic. Doesn't matter. Draw the Breaksin anyways. And so what I want to do here is I want to keep my hand nice and full because the only way they're going to be able to kill me now is if they have Energy plus Ampharos plus Judge. If they play a Lily, they're not going to have enough cards because I have a 8-card hand. 3, 6, 8. Yep. I have an 8-card hand. So there's that. And there's that. And if they have Judge, they can kill me. And they have Lily. That's why you keep the hand nice and full. That's why we didn't burn the Body by Poffin or the Pokepad. Because then they could have just killed this Delphox. And so they're not going to do enough. So they're going to do 140. Not do enough damage. And we can return KO them. That's the key to winning this matchup is to A, not get judged, and B, you keep using Flaring Magic to keep your hand at 7. If you're taking knockouts, you have 8, so it's even better. The Ampharos deck doesn't really play a way to get beyond 6 cards. Lily is their biggest draw, and they got to keep putting cards down, and they want to keep making energy attachments. So it's very hard for them to beat this Delphox deck if they can't find Judge to kill your Delphox. So we have no problem playing cards down now because I have a Fire Energy in my hand. I can Flaring Magic to refill it again, but I have a 7-card hand. I'll go back up to 8. So again, they're going to need a Judge, which seems very unlikely because now they need Rare Candy. They need Rare Candy Energy Attachment and then pass, but they're committing to an Emolga, which is totally fine because they can knock out my Delphox. No big deal. I think I have plenty of energy on board. I'll have plenty of turns to do what I need to do. So if they do get to another Ampharos, we'll be okay. So I'm okay giving up this prize. No big deal. I could have ran away, but I'm conserving the energy is fine by me. So, again, got a nice big hand. And so, now we can just kind of burn cards, because now I want to Flaring Magic. I'm going to Lily this hand away, because I want to draw Greninja EX, just in case, for a third attacker. But as long as I drew a Fire Energy, I can always refill the hand. So, there's no boss in this format, no way to send the Greninja up, so I'm going to make sure my hand is nice and full, just in case of any shenanigans. But there's no Waitress in the Ampharos Precon, so there's no way to get a Waitress, because the Waitress is from, I believe, Ascended Heroes, or a previous set, so there are not really any ways for them to accelerate 2 energies into play. So, them committing an energy to the Emolga and picking it up, put them a turn behind. So they have to evolve into Ampharos, put energy down. Again, all I need is a single energy. But, like always, for swag points, you gotta attack with Greninja EX because we pulled it. So, Ninja Spinner, pick it up, kill the Ampharos for the last prize. So, Greninja did get involved this game. This is all on the back of my opponent misplaying by not disconnecting. Instead, they used the Ampharos and attacked and not killed the Froakie. So Froakie stayed around to get his revenge. Again, double checking the deck, showing you what's all in it. Really, it's just a subtraction of the Ninetales line, adding the Greninja line, and then balancing the energy cards. Playing against Elbow Bleach. Flipping the coin. Lost the coin flip, no big deal. Again, going second. We can always call for family if we have a Fennekin. Opponent opting to go first. This hand is actually quite good. Waitress is fine. Again, going second means this hand is great because I can Hilda for one of my evolved Pokemon. And for extra safety, I can always Pokepad for a basic and get a nice big family here. And with this hand, I believe I can take 2 routes. I can call for family, grab Frogadier on the Pokepad, and then Hilda for the Greninja. Or I can go the Delphox route. I can call for family for a Fennekin, Pokepad for a Braixen, and Hilda for the Delphox. Then I can draw additional cards. So I have both routes are available to me. Granted that nothing's prized. So actually going second here is actually quite fine. Opponent misplays a little bit. They open Speed Deoxys in the Dark deck, which you don't need. Instead of retreating into Quillfish, they retreat into Zubat. They are a little lucky that I don't have any way to do 40 damage, because I do have Waitress and an energy, so it's a little unfortunate I can't just kill the Zubat, which would have been great. They also misplayed again by Pokepadding for a Crobat. That's one less Crobat they can't Grimsley out, so this is totally fine. Opponent's not playing the best. We'll capitalize on this. So I debate whether to play a Pokepad for something, but I think ultimately I'm just going to call for family and grab both the guys. The unfortunate ththing is that Frogadier is prized. I do have Rare Candy, so if I get Rare Candy at any point, I can Rare Candy into Greninja, or I can Rare Candy into Delphox. But I need those cards. So I am locked into the Pokepad for a Braixen play. However, my opponent gets an energy, and he can Covert Flight. And on top of that, he gets the Spiky Helmet, which is very bad because now I take 30 damage. But also, if I attack with a Braixen here, I'm going to take an additional 40, which means that the Venoshock from the Quillfish means that it's going to kill my Braixen, which is very bad. However, I know they have Crobat in their hand, so I have to opt for this play. And the unfortunate thing is that I drew on Waitress, I did get the Fire Energy, which was great. But the bad thing is that there's a Water Energy in my hand. If I had a Fire Energy, I could just retreat this Fennekin, go into a fresh Braixen, and not die to a Venoshock. But I have to opt for this play, which kind of stinks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to evolve into the other Braixen, so that I can Hilda the next turn for a Delphox so I can draw some cards. So, and it stinks because I used one Waitress. This deck's play 2's Waitress. So I need another Waitress if I'm going to attack next turn. So I either need Rare Candy. Well, I can't really get Rare Candy. Oh, I need like a Fire Energy, but I would need to draw like Rare Candy plus Water or something like that, or a Rare Candy plus Water switch. It's kind of tough. This is kind of a tough spot. However, them not having a Crobat down immediately means that I get some turns to... I buy myself some couple turns. Because Venoshock is just going to do 30, and as long as I don't attack into this Quillfish, it's only going to ever top out at 30. So I'm okay promoting breaks in here. No big deal. Drew a switch. Again, if I get a Rare Candy here and a Water, I can actually just... I can just do Greninja. Get the Water. No Rare Candy, though. So we're going to take a couple turns here. Get some more Fennekins down. Might as well stat up some more Delphoxes. And so I'm debating here. If he Grimsley... He can Grimsley with a Crobat, and then I'm going to be forced to switch out of my Delphox. And I also want to conserve that energy so that I can Flaring Magic. So I don't want to necessarily commit because I have no way to like kind of draw new cards. So then I'm just going to be stuck on my hands. So I'm just committing more energies, which is kind of stinks, but whatever, no big deal. There's no threat here still. So my opponent Grimsley's gets a Trubbish, not a Crobat, which is great because Garbodor is not a good card. It like reduces damage if they have tools or we have tools. It doesn't matter. So I'm just gonna take a 30. That damage ultimately does not matter. I draw a Braixen. I get another Waitress, which is great, but I also draw the Rare Candy, meaning I can actually start attacking. Get another Pokepad. Unfortunate that I don't have the other Braixen. No big deal. I believe it's in the prizes. So I can Waitress. I can start setting up another Delphox. It'd have been nice to attack with a Delphox here. So I could conserve the Greninja just in case the Crobat comes down. And I got a Fire and a Water. So we can put a Water on the Greninja. That means I can pick it up in Shuriken. But I think ultimately I'm probably running this Greninja away because we know that the Crobat is in hand because they Pokepad for it on the first turn. So unfortunately we didn't get quite lucky and I had to burn a switch for it. So should be okay. And what we can do is, since we have 3 Waters, I can retreat this Greninja into the Fennekin, use the Fennekin as a meat shield, let the Crobat kill it. And then that way I don't have to try to flip for confusion and take a bunch of damage, a bunch of unnecessary damage. And I can just kill their Crobat. So, and then Delphox can just win us the game at the end if we get confused again. But Greninja having 350 health here is very, very nice. And the bad thing about the Crobat deck is if they don't play anything else and they're playing just straight the Dark deck, that there's not really much they can do. They pretty much top out at 90 because they do 80 and Confusion, or 80 and Poison, which is just a flat 90, and then the same thing with Venoshock, which is just an 80 and 10 for Poison. So I'm not really under threat of anything. If I don't attack, no big deal. The Spiky Helmet is kind of annoying, but you're not going to take spiky damage if you're not attacking. And if you don't attack into Confusion, then you don't have to worry about that. So drew another Water, which pretty much just assures me that I'm just running away because I have plenty of Waters. My opponent did misplay. They benched a Zubat, which means that I just need one more prize now. And there's Frogadier just chilling. And now I can just continue with my play, which was use Fennekin as a meat shield. So I have plenty of Waters. I have 2 Waters. So if he kill a Fennekin, I just use that Water that I picked up, and I have that for the game. So opponent's gonna Buddy Poffin. Nothing in the deck. 4 cards left in deck. Well, he doesn't have anything going on. So opponent could pass, but yeah, you're down 3-1. So opponent stacks the deck, puts his favorite of the 4 cards, puts one of the 4 on top of his deck, and he takes the meat shield, takes the bait. Means I can just promote my Greninja, attach, and kill. Drew a Fire Energy again. Can't really use Delphox here because they don't have enough energy. But Greninja gets it done. So KO. Always finishing these games with Greninja in style. We're playing our fifth and final game against Gunnar Soz. So, I will warn you that my opponent does not play the game here. It's a little unfortunate that we don't get a fifth and final game. So, I'll probably see you on the other side of the jump cut. Alright, welcome back from the other side of the jump cut. You can see that I got a turn 3 Greninja with that beautiful hand. I had the Frogadier turn 2, Hilda, Water, turn 3, and unfortunately my opponent was not there. We had the most perfect hand. We would have blown him out, basically. And so we went a perfect 5 for 5 with Delphox Greninja. We collect our rewards. We get a redeem a token. We get plenty of cards. I have completed most of the set already. And unfortunately, out of our packs, we actually pulled a 4-3-2 line of Greninja. Well, we pulled I think it was 3 more Froakies. Because we already had a 1-2-1 line, so this was included in that total. Man, we could have had just a dedicated Greninja deck if we had those extra packs. Couple of hits there. A couple art cards, but yeah, that's it. The Delphox Greninja deck, very good. But that's it. See you in the next build and battle.